everyone, it's the Magic Minds here with episode 4 of our podcast. So, before we get into our show, I just wanted to give a little announcement about some changes that are going to be happening around here. So, first of all, we thought our podcasts were a bit too long, so instead, we're going to have shorter podcasts with shorter deck techs, probably around 5 to 6 minutes. And then we're also going to have separate videos that we each do on our own about our own individual deck techs. So those will be our extended deck techs, and they'll be 20 to 25 minutes, and we'll just go deeper into our decks. So anyway, we got our podcast today, and we got all our co-hosts. We got Caleb.
Hey guys, what's up?
We got Jack.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And we also got Evan.
Hey guys, if you like it.
Yeah, so last episode, like always, we spun the wheel, and we got -1/-1 counters. So we each had to build a -1/-1 counters deck. So let's just get right into it. We're going to start off with Caleb.
Today, the commander I brewed around was Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons. Hapatra is black-green for a 2/2 legendary creature, human cleric, and whenever Hapatra, Vizier of Poisons deals combat damage to a player, you may put a -1/-1 counter on target creature, and whenever you put one or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create a 1/1 green snake creature token with Death Touch. So you're going to try to distribute -1/-1 counters and make a ton of snakes. So one of the best cards in the deck is Parallel Lives, my first Spotlight card. It is 3 and green for a enchantment. And if an effect would put one or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, it puts twice that many of those tokens onto the battlefield instead. So if you put a -1/-1 counter on a creature and you have Hapatra out and Parallel Lives, instead of making 1 snake, you make 2. And doubling your tokens is a really powerful effect in a deck like this. Another Spotlight card is Skullclamp, which is 1 for a artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/-1, and whenever equipped creature dies, you draw 2 cards, and it has a equip cost of 2. So you equip Skullclamp to a snake, it kills the snake, and you draw 2 cards.
Yeah, both those cards are generically just crazy powerful in any token deck. So I'm not surprised to see those on there. You can make a bunch of tokens.
Yeah, Skullclamp is just a ton of value for a cheap cost. So another really good card in this deck is Carnifex Demon, which is 4 black for a creature demon. It's a 6/6 with flying, and it enters the battlefield with 2 -1/-1 counters on it. You can pay a black to remove a -1/-1 counter from Carnifex Demon and put a -1/-1 counter on each other creature. So I know what you're thinking. How's this good? It's going to kill all your snakes. Well, it's gonna, but you are going to get all those snakes back, plus many more. So this card's just really good. You probably won't be activating it a second time, because then it would kill Hapatra, but it's still really good.
Yeah, that's good, because those kind of effects, also Black Sun Zenith, can make a bunch of tokens with Hapatra, because you can just hit every creature, so that seems very powerful with that deck.
Yep. My 4th and final Spotlight card is Growing Rites of Itlimoc, Itlimoc Cradle of the Sun. It's an Ixalan transforming land. So it's 2 and a green for Growing Rites of Itlimoc. It's a legendary enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And at the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 more creatures, transform Growing Rites of Itlimoc. So you're going to have 4 creatures pretty easily with all the snakes you're making with Hapatra, and it transforms into Itlimoc, Cradle of the Sun, which is a legendary land. You can tap it to add green to your mana pool, or you can tap it to add green for each creature you control. And if you have a ton of snakes, this is going to be so much mana.
Yeah.
That's what Gaia's Cradle does, and Gaia's Cradle is $400 and is the best land ever printed. So that's just insane effect.
Yeah, so that's my Hapatra deck. Obviously, Hapatra is one of the main, when you think of -1/-1 counter commanders, its Hapatra's probably the best. I'm interested to see what you guys have.
So now we're on to Jack.
My commander that I built around today was the Scorpion God. So Scorpion God is 3 black red for a 6/5 legendary creature god. And whenever a creature with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, draw a card. And then you can pay 1 black red to put a -1/-1 counter on another target creature. And when the Scorpion God dies, return it to its hand at the beginning of the next end step. So the way I built this deck is getting -1/-1 counters on creatures, obviously, and then destroying them and drawing cards and gain value off Scorpion God. So my first spotlight card that I have for you today is Everlasting Torment. So Everlasting Torment is 2 in hybrid black-red for enchantment. Players can't gain life. Damage can't be prevented. And all damage is dealt as though a source had Wither. And Wither is a source with Wither deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. So this card I thought was really good, and that's why I put it in the deck, because it can put -1/-1 counters on creatures with it, and just the addition of player can't gain life, which is good, and damage can't be prevented. Pretty good.
Yeah, that seems really good because it basically just means any creature that dies in combat or by any source of damage is going to draw a card. So that's great. Creatures die in combat all the time because people are going to be swinging with creatures.
So the next spotlight card I have is Black Sun's Zenith. And so Black Sun's Zenith is X black. Put X -1/-1 counters on each creature, then shuffle Black Sun's Zenith into its owner's library. This is probably one of the best cards in the deck, if not the best one, because it puts -1/-1 counters on each creature. If they don't already have -1/-1 counters on them, they die depending on how much X is. So you are most likely going to be drawing a bunch of cards off this card, and just the addition of getting it back into your own library to cast it again, which is pretty good. So yeah, that's really good. The next card that I have today is Soulscar Mage. So Soulscar Mage is 1 red mana for a 1/2 creature human wizard. It has prowess, and if a source you control would deal non-combat damage to a creature an opponent controls, put that many -1/-1 counters on that creature instead. So, like burn spells, I don't have a lot of them, but this card does synergize with one card that I'm going to tell you after I tell you about this one. So, any burn spells, it'll deal with -1/-1 counters instead of just regular damage. And this card synergizes really well with Chandra's Ignition. So Chandra's Ignition is 3 red for a sorcery. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to each other creature and each opponent. So the reason this card goes super well with Soulscar Mage is because it's not dealing combat damage, it's dealing damage equal to a power of your creature to each creature and each opponent. So that would deal -1/-1 counters, 6 -1/-1 counters if you're doing the Scorpion God to each creature. So that's just really good. Soulscar Mage really synergizes with this card. So that's why I put both of these cards in the deck. And especially if you target Scorpion God, because he has a lot of power, 6. So the last card that I have is Hate Flare. So Hate Flare is 5 red for a 5/5 creature elemental as Wither, and you can pay 2 and a red to untap Hate Flare. Hate Flare deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. So
Wait, it does have like the black untap symbol?
Yeah.
Okay, like Pilipala. Okay.
Yeah, so you can untap it, and it deals damage equal to its power to target creature or player. And since it has Wither, it'll deal 5 damage, actually -1/-1 counters to a creature or player. So that is a great card, and it's really great for the deck. So yeah, that's it for my Scorpion God deck. On to Finn.
Yeah, okay, so the commander I made is a pretty uncommon one. Only 12 decks themed around mice and mice encounters for this guy. It's Vati Ildal. So it's 2, a black and a green for a legendary creature, human warrior. It's a 3/3, and you can tap it, and until the end of turn, target creature has base power 1 or base toughness 1. So it's a really interesting ability, I think. It's pretty cool. So, with this deck, we're trying to put some mice or mice encounters on creatures. And then the thing that's great about Vati, you may notice he doesn't say anything about mice or mice encounters on the card. But if we put a mice or mouse encounter on a creature, then we can tap Vati and make their toughness 1. And then that mice or mouse encounter, the creature will see the mice or mouse encounter, and then it'll have 0 toughness and it will die. And then we're also looking to get some value when we kill creatures, because we're going to be killing a lot of creatures with this deck. So our first card that gets a lot of value for killing creatures is Necroskitter. So it's 1 black for a 1/4 creature elemental. It's got Wither, so Jack mentioned that before, but it deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters. And whenever a creature an opponent controls with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, you return that card to the battlefield under your control. So this is great because obviously with Vati, most of the stuff we're going to be killing is going to have -1/-1 counters on it. And so we're going to be able to get basically any creature onto the battlefield that we want, because we have a bunch of effects that put -1/-1 counters on every creature, kind of like Hapatra. So that one's just pretty cool. Another good one we have is, this one doesn't really relate to -1/-1 counters at all. It just generally synergizes with our commander. So it's Tree of Perdition. It's 3 and a black for a creature plant. It's a 0/13 defender, but you can tap it and exchange target opponent's life total with Tree of Perdition's toughness. So that is great because normally you could just tap it to make somebody go to 13, which is already pretty powerful. But instead, Vati, you can tap him to make Tree of Perdition's toughness 1, and then you can tap it to make somebody's life total 1. And with, a decent amount of creatures, we can usually just kill somebody with a life total 1. So it's a good surprise win card. So that one's pretty awesome.
That seems like an insane synergy that could take someone down, kill them, if not take them down to really low, early in the game. I could see you winning with that, getting someone out. And it's the kind of thing you can just hold above someone's head, which is cool. If you have both of them untapped, they go to do something, and you just make their life total 1.
Yeah. Another one that is good with Vati, and it cares about killing creatures, it's Massacre Worm. It's 3 black for a creature worm. It's a 6/5, and when it enters the battlefield, creatures your opponent's control get -2/-2 until the end of turn. So that can already kill a lot of stuff if we're already going to be weakening our opponent's creatures with -1/-1 counters. And then whenever a creature an opponent controls is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, that player loses 2 life. So that's also great because when it comes in, it's going to kill a bunch of stuff and deal a bunch of damage. And after it enters battlefield, on the turns after, we can tap Vati and snipe some stuff and then make our opponents lose even more life. So that's great.
I can see Massacre Girl also being good in this deck because you can start the engine of killing your opponent's stuff by killing one of them with Vati and then just keep it rolling.
Yeah, Massacre Girl, it's an interesting one. I was a little dubious. I might put that one in there. If you build your own version of the deck, you can definitely slot that in there. It's pretty powerful. It's a good single-sided board wipe in the deck. So that's nice. And then our final card, since Vati does have a tap ability and he's in green, I thought I put in some untappers so we can hit multiple creatures per turn or creatures on our opponent's turns. So obviously include Seaborn Muse, and Thornbright Staff is also a great one in this deck. But one less known card that I wanted to talk about is Quest for Renewal. It's 1 in the green for an enchantment. Whenever a creature you control becomes tapped, we put a quest counter on Quest for Renewal. And then, as long as there are 4 more quest counters on Quest for Renewal, untap all creatures you control during each other player's untap step. So after a while, you can play it early, and soon you'll be able to, it'll be like a Seaborn Muse, and it's great to add some redundancy to your deck and be able to have a bunch of sources to untap Vati with. So yeah, that's a great one. And also make sure, if you want to hear more about our decks, make sure to check out the extended deck techs.
Yep, so I'm up next, and I kind of pulled the short straw on this one. I got last choice, so I ended up picking Yawgmoth Thran Physician, which is 2 black for a 2/4 legendary creature human cleric with protection from humans, and you can pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, and put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature, and then you draw a card. And you can also pay 2 black to discard a card and proliferate. Both of those aren't tap abilities, so you can do them as many times as you have the mana and life for. I mean, this is just a really good engine for your deck, because having card draw on your commander and card draw that is repeatable and consistent, that's really good. And there's also a lot of good synergy, including a combo I'm going to talk about later with this card. So the first card I want to talk about is Archfiend of Ifnir, which is 3 black for a creature demon. It's a 5/4 flying, and it says, whenever you cycle or discard another card, put a -1/-1 counter on each creature your opponents control. It also has cycling for 2. So this combos really well with Yawgmoth, because it kind of doubles up on the second ability of Yawgmoth, where you can proliferate. As one of the payments to do that, you have to discard a card. But when you discard a card, Archfiend of Ifnir is going to put -1/-1 counters on each of your opponent's creatures. So if you do that twice, that's 4 -1/-1 counters. And that can kill most everything in a game.
Yeah, that seems like it synergizes really well with like both parts of your guy's card. So that's cool.
Yeah. So the next card I have is Crumbling Ashes. It's 1 and a black for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, destroy target creature with a -1/-1 counter on it. So this is really good because Yawgmoth only does 1 -1/-1 counter at a time. So this allows you to destroy that creature no matter how big it is. And you can wait to sacrifice a creature with Yawgmoth until end step of the person before you's turn, and then you can just pick off on upkeep whatever you want, which is really good. And with that, we've come to the last 2 cards, which are actually a combo that you can do with Yawgmoth. So the 3 cards you're going to need are Yawgmoth, and you're going to need Nest of Scarabs, which is 2 and a black for whenever you put 1 or more -1/-1 counters on a creature, create that many 1/1 black insect creature tokens. Even without this next card, that's pretty good because it'll keep giving you token fodder for Yawgmoth whenever you do his ability, which is the hardest thing to come by. But if you add in a card like Zulaport Cutthroat, which is 2 and a black for a creature human rogue ally, which is a 1/1, and whenever Zulaport Cutthroat or another creature you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So how this works is you're going to pay 1 life and sack a creature to put a -1/-1 counter on target creature, and when you do that, you get a 1/1 black insect. And when that creature you controlled that you sacrificed first died, you're going to gain a life. So you're going to be even on life, and opponents are going to lose life, so they're not. They're going to be 1 lower. So you can just do this, say, 40 times, draw 40 cards, and kill every single one of your opponents. So that's it for my deck tech. So now we are going on to the voting.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it okay if I start us off?
Yeah, go ahead.
So for power, I think I gotta go with Evan. I think Jack's deck is really good, but I just don't see a win con in there. I mean, drawing a ton of cards is gonna give you a bunch of value, but how are you gonna win with the deck is my only problem. And Evan, his infinite combo, and it just really everything you need is attached to the commander, which is really good. So yeah, I'm gonna go.
Okay. So I'm gonna vote next. Okay, so it's I'm kind of torn. The Yawgmoth deck seems powerful, but maybe I think it's kind of hard to build like a super -1/-1 counters deck with just black. The Scorpion God seems good, but I also see that it kind of lacked the win con. I'm not sure how it wins. So I have to go with Caleb because obviously Hapatra is already a pretty popular and powerful -1/-1 counter commander, and just hearing your deck tech, it just reminds me how good and powerful Hapatra is. I have her in my deck. It's just great because you can just make a bunch of tokens and do a bunch of crazy stuff in green and black. So yeah, that's my take. So Caleb got a vote.
Okay. I will vote next, and I gotta go with Jack just because, well, obviously, I think we all know Finn's isn't the most powerful, given there's only 12 decks and it's just not great. But I think Jack's is the most powerful, more powerful than Caleb's, because I just think if you're looking at what the payoffs are for -1/-1 counters, in Hapatra, it's 1/1s, and in Scorpion God, it's cards. And I feel like in Commander, cards are more important than creatures. So I gotta go with Jack.
Okay, so I have to vote for Caleb because of the power level of his deck, with snakes and just especially with parallel lives, which is doubling like all your snakes every time you create one, and with token doublers like parallel lives, like he mentioned. So I just think his deck is super powerful and can win and has a win con in every game.
Okay, so that's the power level vote. So I'm going to start us off for our creativity vote. So for creativity, I'd have to go with, I think I'd have to go with Evan. I felt kind of bad for him for drawing short straw. I mean, we all like, at the end of the last episode, we're all like calling commanders left and right, and Evan was like silent and he didn't get a good commander. Well, I mean, Yawgmoth's good, but he didn't get like the most straightforward commander. So I'd say his is the most unique out of all of ours. Is that mine? Okay, good.
Okay, so I gotta go with Finn because Jack and Caleb weren't at all creative or anything. Those are the two most popular, if not really the two only -1/-1 commanders. It's interesting how you take that commander and make -1/-1 counters, take the wording and use it to your advantage for a deck. So
Come on, you don't think Parallel Lives is creative? Well, I think I agree with Evan, 100% Finn. I mean, Evan's deck is fairly creative too, but it's just not as creative as Finn. So I think my point is going to Finn. I also really liked the Tree of Predation combo.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique deck.
Well, no surprise, I'm going to vote for Finn too, because there's only 12 decks on EDH Rec for Vati, and I think he made it work with -1/-1 counters, so that's why I think.
Yeah, thanks. So now we're on to our custom card segment. Yeah, so Caleb, you want to go first?
I think I have a banger. I'll save mine for last. You can go.
Okay. If no one minds, I'll just go first then. So having the new Ikoria set come out soon, like 2 weeks, I think, I decided to make a enchantment that kind of relates to it, I guess. So it's Altered Evolution, 400 green for legendary enchantment. It says at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, target creature card in your hand gains Mutate. Its Mutate cost is equal to its converted mana cost, reduced by 2. And it also says this only applies to creatures without Mutate. So I just thought it'd be cool to make something. I was like a little disappointed when I found out like you can only like mutate. It's hard to explain, but I was just disappointed when I saw like all the cool mutate triggers. But it's kind of hard sometimes when you can only trigger them a couple times. So I wanted an enchantment that would allow you to trigger mutate a bunch of times and really abuse those abilities. That's why I made this card, and I think it's cool. And if you don't know what mutate does, it's incredibly confusing, but I'm going to give you a quick reminder here. You can cast a spell for its mutate cost. If you do, put it over or under target non-human creature you own. They mutate into the creature on top plus all the abilities from under it. So it's kind of like a combination mechanic, but yeah, I just wanted you to be able to mutate all kinds of crazy combos and stuff. So yeah, that's why I made it. So Jack, you want to go?
Okay, so my custom card that I made for this episode, it's a tribal card. So it's Kolox and Kimmik Spiritborn. So 4 black red for a 3/3 legendary creature, Beast Spirit. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, create an 0/1 plant creature token. And then you could pay 1 black green to sacrifice a plant and draw a card. At the beginning of your end step, if 5 or more plant tokens died this turn, each opponent loses 5 life and you gain 5 life. So the reason I made this card is because I wanted a card that, like, the first ability started and then it went on to the next ability and then the next ability, and they all kind of synergize with each other. So yeah, so that's why I made this card.
Okay, so the card I made today is a 5-color card that you can make if you are on a budget. So it is called Shadoon, Lover of Basic. It's 1 and Wooburg, so white, blue, black, red, green, for legendary creature Berserker with haste, and you can pay 5 mana to add Wooburg to your mana pool, and you may activate this ability once per turn. So once per turn, you can filter your mana to get all 5 colors. And then, its second ability is you can pay 2 and Wooburg to look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of basic lands you control, and you may cast any number of cards with total CMC X or less. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. And it's a 4/6. So I just made this because, like, 5-color decks, they seem fun, but when you're on a budget, you don't really have the money to do a mana base with all the shock lands and the scry lands and the commander lands from all the different sets. So this will just allow you to go only basics and still have a deck that you might be able to win some games with.
Yeah, that seems cool. And one card I thought of that seems really great with that deck is Earthcraft. So it's kind of expensive. It's an old card, but it's 1 green for an enchantment, and you can tap an untapped creature you control to untap target basic land. So it seems kind of fun with like a basic lands tribal deck. So we're on to Caleb now.
So the custom card that I made today is Jaihon the Uncommanded. It is 3 Simic hybrid, Gruul hybrid, Izzet hybrid. For a legendary creature god, he's a 7/7. He has Eminence, which is the mechanic, I think it was C17. Whenever a creature token enters the battlefield under your control for the first time each turn, if Jaihon the Uncommanded is in the command zone, draw 2 cards and put Jaihon onto the battlefield. If Jaihon is on the battlefield, copy that token and return Jaihon the Uncommanded to the command zone. So this is a card, it's a token synergy card, and at first I made it a bit too broken, but I made it once per turn to level it out a bit, and it just seems like a fun token synergy card. So let's get to voting.
Yeah, that seems cool. So voting, let's just have Jack go first with the voting. So yeah, go ahead, Jack.
Okay, so I have to go with Caleb because, I mean, his card seems super powerful, but yeah, it seems super powerful, and maybe on a little bit of the broken side. It's really good, but I'm still gonna vote for him because, like, all those synergies that you can do with that card and with the tokens and stuff. So yeah.
Okay, I think with my vote, I'm gonna shoot it towards Finn because Finn's card, like Finn, I agree that it's a super fun mechanic. I think Mutate's a really fun mechanic, but I agree with Finn in the sense that it's kind of hard to make a deck around it, and I think that that's a super good card.
I'd have to go with, this is a hard one, man. I have to go with Evan. I really like that Basic Lands Tribal, and there's a little bit of a problem with it because it costs quite a bunch of different colors of mana to cast, but I think it's fine when you can actually get it out and then it really budget. So Yeah, I like basic lands tribal, so go ahead.
So I gotta go with Jack because his commander seems interesting, and Caleb's is absolutely broken because if you play a token or a token generator turn 1 or 2, then you have a 6/6 turn 1 or 2, which is broken.
Yeah, maybe I should
So-
have made it like a 2/4 instead of a 7/7.
Yeah, so that's my vote. And
I was
think
thinking about it like not to be like attacking with it, but just to get the value off of it. I didn't think about how broken that would be. Maybe I should have made it a 2/4.
Okay, let's go right into our pack.
Okay, we're only going uncommons and rares. So here we go. I have Clear the Stage, Sphinx of the Guild Pack, Flames of the Razor, and my rare is Warrant to Warden. So Warrant is hybrid Azorius. For an instant, put target attacking or blocking creature on top of its owner's library. And then there's Warden, which is 3 white-blue for a sorcery. Create a 4/4 white-blue Sphinx creature token with flying and vigilance. I'm guessing that's not worth much.
Yeah, 15 cents. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, that's a miss for Caleb.
Okay, I'll go next. I have Hazada Marshall, Smelt Ward Minotaur, and Sinister Sabotage, and then my rare is Vivid Revival. It is 4 and a green for a sorcery. Return up to 3 target multicolored cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Vivid Revival.
Okay. I need to check the price on that. Okay, here we go. 10 cents market price.
Like always.
Yep.
Okay, so
Jack's
I'll go
unlocking.
next, and I'll get this pack open. One sec, let me get to my uncommons. Okay, here we go. So my first uncommon is Spinning Wheel, and then I have Revenge of Ravens, and then I have Mad Ratter, which is actually really good. It's 3 and a red for a 1/2. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, create 2 1/1 black rats. But my rare is Bone Crusher Giant. It's 2 and a red for a creature giant, 4/3 with adventure. Its adventure is Stomp for 1 and a red. Damage can't be prevented this turn. Stomp deals 2 damage to any target. So shock, but 1 more, and damage can't be prevented. And it's a 4/3, and when Bone Crusher Giant becomes the target of a spell, Bone Crusher Giant deals 2 damage to that spell's controller. So, what's that worth?
Yeah, that is 83 cents.
Nice. That might be
So
enough to win.
that could be a winner. Okay, so that just leaves me, I guess. So, crack my pack, Ward the Spark. Okay, going through. So my first uncommon is Bleeding Edge, and then we have Firemind Vessel, and then we have the Planeswalker is Teo, the Shield Mage. Ooh, and then my rare is Planewide Celebration. Got a bunch of those huge modal sorcery things. I'm not going to read the whole card, but you can proliferate a lot, so that's cool. I know Evan has an Oathbreaker deck with that. Price on that one is 36 cents. So I think we have Evan won that. So Evan takes away another point there. So
Now for the wheel.
Yep.
yeah, before that, I'm going to review who got what points. So for power level, Caleb won. For uniqueness / creativity, I won with Vati. And then for custom cards, we all tied with 1 vote. So we're each going to get a point for that. And then Evan won with Bone Crusher Giant for the packs. So now on to that wheel.
Okay, let's spin it. Okay, it's spinning. Ooh. And it's landed on a budget. Our next week's episode will be budget episode. And
Nice.
instead
Cool.
of doing just $25 budget, I say we mix it up a little and go 2DH.
Yeah,
Yes.
also we don't have
can
to
agree
add
with
up all
that.
those cards too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, this one's really good because, like, it's what we are in real life. We're on a budget. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's going to be really fun to brew around this.
Well,
And with that,
Stay
that's the
safe,
end of our
guys.
episode. So keep magic on your mind. See ya.